Welcome to Pioneer Library System. I'm Holly from the Newcastle branch. With winter fast approaching, there's nothing better than a cozy fire. And to help you start that fire, I want to show you how to make these pine cone fire starters made from pine cones. They're not only useful, but they're pretty as well. You can keep a container by your fireplace or fire pit ready for use. For this project, you'll need to go ahead and gather some pine cones. Any size will do. And then we'll be dipping the pine cones in melted wax. I'm using the soy wax flakes. This is about a 2-pound bag and it will make quite a few pine cones. You'll also need some candle wicking and scissors. And then if you'd like to scent those pine cone fire starters, you can get essential oils made especially for candle making. I'm using cinnamon. We will be melting our wax in a double boiler method today. So you'll need to find a pan for water and then a heat-safe container. And also I used a candy thermometer to check the temperature of my wax. And since melting wax is kind of a messy project, you want to go ahead and protect your area. You'll need a place to set the pine cones on while they are cooling. So I go ahead and use some wax paper and get my area prepared. So go ahead and get gathering those pine cones and we'll get started. To begin with, fill a pan about a little less than halfway full of water, and then you're going to place your container that has the wax flakes in it in the pan. And you want your container deep enough that you're able to dip your pine cones in. And let's go ahead and turn that on. And we want a slow boil. You don't want a real rolling boil because you do not want to get any water in the wax. And then as it starts to melt, we'll just continue to stir it. These wax flakes melt at about 135 degrees. If you need to add a little more wax to bring up the level of wax in your container, you can do that. The wax is at about 135 to 40 degrees. So I'm going to let it set. I'm going to take, using a pot holder, take this out and let it cool just a little bit. While our wax is cooling, if you'd like to go ahead and add your scent, if you'd like to scent your pine cone fire starters, and it's just totally how much scent you want is how much you're going to add. I probably added about 30 drops. We need to add the wick that goes around the pine cone, probably about a 24-inch length for the larger ones. A little bit less for the smaller pine cone. Then make that go in half, and then you're going to tie a knot at the end. So you should have a little loop like that, and then you'll just set that on top of the pine cone and then weave this wicking throughout the pine cone. And you just go all the way down to the very bottom, so when you're burning this, it should burn throughout the whole pine cone. We can do several of those and then we can go ahead and dip them. We want to let this wax drip off of it and then just place it on the wax paper and let that cool. Sometimes these take about 2 to 4 times to dip them. It just depends on how thick you want your wax. I'm going to go ahead now and start re-dipping these for the second dipping. You can see it's starting to cool and turn white. When you're all finished, if you have extra wax was on your wax wax paper. You can reuse that. It just peels right off and you can just remelt all that. But I think these are good. Once they are totally cooled off, they'll be white. And these pine cone fire starters really turned out beautiful. I almost hate to burn them. To improve your skills on fire making, check out this always available book on Hoopla with your library card. Thanks for joining the Pioneer Library System. Be sure to like and share below.